Climbing out of your rank can be very difficult, but you can make it easier by choosing certain characters. Personal preference is very important to consider when choosing your hero, but some heroes just have more care potential than others. So in this video, I'll break down the best and worst tanks at each rank for climbing. Allow me to introduce myself first. My name is ChroNoDotA and I'm a former professional main tank player and current full-time streamer and content creator. If you want to learn how to climb as a tank player, then this video is dedicated to you.
Tired of losing game after game? GameLeap is the proven way to help you unlock your true potential as a gamer. You will find hundreds of in-depth courses created by some of the highest rated players in the world. Go check it out in the link below and you'll love it.
Bronze, the rank where anything goes. There's no semblance of meta or team compositions, no focus fire, no comms, and overall, bronze is just a clown fiesta where anything goes. Truthfully, you could pick any tank and dominate the opponents, but Roadhog is probably your best bet. What's not to love about the big boy? He's incredibly tanky, he deals great burst damage, and he even has a one-shot combo against squishy characters when you combine his hook with a point-blank shotgun shot. All of these combined means that you can have a huge impact on the outcome of the game, giving you a higher chance to win and climb out of bronze if you're better than the average bronze player. One last thing, we know that in bronze your healers won't know what the heck is going on, so Roadhog's take a breather ability is a huge plus. No longer do you have to rely on your bronze teammates to heal you, you can take matters into your own hands. Overall, Roadhog is a great pick that comes with a ton of playmaking potential, so if Roadhog is the best pick to carry, what is the worst hero to pick? It's between D.Va and Zarya. These are the two tanks that tend to be more supportive in nature. They have less outright impact on the game. D.Va has more consistent damage, but a Zarya with a decent amount of charge can actually carry pretty hard. Because of that, I'm gonna have to say that the worst tank for climbing out of bronze is D.Va. Zarya just has more oomph and can dictate the pace of the fights much better than D.Va, especially at the lower ranks. Next up, we have Silver. Silver is just like bronze, but the players are ever so slightly sharper. The big thing to note is that they still lack teamwork, coordination, and focus. Because of all this, I'd say that Roadhog is also the best tank in Silver. A flanking Roadhog is going to absolutely wreak havoc on the enemy's backline. You can abuse their lack of teamwork and little by little tear them apart. Don't always stand in the front line with your fellow tank, but make sure to actually set up flanks so you can exploit their weakness. Just like in bronze, D.Va is the worst for climbing for reasons that we already talked about. When you're trying to climb and carry your teammates, you need to pick heroes that have the biggest individual impact on the game, and D.Va just doesn't fit the job description. Keep the hog train going all the way to gold. Gold is where you might start having trouble with your flanking hog adventures. It's more likely that the enemies will have more awareness and that they're going to pay attention to you as you approach the backline. Roadhog is still very viable, but Winston is even better. Golds are much more likely to focus you when you poke your head out, but you can get around that by picking Winston and setting up above or behind the enemy. In the gold rank, people play on autopilot and they almost always forget to clear corners and high grounds. If you can sneak into the backline as Winston without committing your movement ability, you will do so much more than a flanking Roadhog ever could. Flanking as Roadhog is much more one-dimensional, but picking Winston lets you be a consistent threat if you abuse map geometry and the enemy's lack of awareness. In gold, it's pretty common for the DPS and tanks to leave the supports to die when they get dove. You can exploit this by diving the supports when you see that the tanks and DPS are trying to focus targets. If you're gonna play Winston, make sure you play him as a flanker first and as a diver second. You'd be surprised how rarely you actually have to dive if you learn how to flank well. The worst tank to climb out of gold with is Reinhardt. In bronze and silver, you can actually pop off as Reinhardt by making the stupidest plays imaginable. But in gold, people are going to be much better at dealing with you if you overextend. Rein isn't great because it's hard for you to make individual plays with him. He's a melee hero, he has no self-heal, and he doesn't have a mobility cooldown. If you consider all these, you can see that Reinhardt actually needs a good amount of support from his team to do well. When we're trying to climb out of gold, we want to use heroes that can hard carry and have the most impact on the game, and Reinhardt is just not the choice. At Platinum is where we start seeing some semblance of proper team compositions and some players take the game more seriously. You're more likely to get scouted and forced out if you try to flank, but it's still doable. For anybody trying to climb out of this rank, I highly recommend learning Wrecking Ball. Hammond is a high mobility hero that can viably fit into almost any team composition. From bronze to gold, you could have made a ton of progress by playing one-dimensionally, but it gets a little bit harder in platinum, where people are going to begin recognizing your patterns. Hammond is exceptional here, because he can do so many things to throw the enemy off guard. You can slam and go for a hard engage, you can be annoying and pressure the backline with your quad cannons, and you can even just roll around and displace enemies. With so many opportunities at your fingertips, you just need to know which playstyle to adopt based on the situation. If you have dive DPS, then you want to lean towards the sides of setting up slams and diving. If you have slower DPS picks, like Widowmaker or Hanzo, then you could play to spam the backline with your quad cannon. Don't always feel like you need to be slamming aggressively though. Oftentimes, just booping the enemy into your team is enough to win a teamfight. On top of that, if you find an isolated squishy target, you can slam them and easily track them in the knockup. Wrecking Ball is a great pick for climbing because of its flexibility and solo playmaking potential. But what's the worst tank for climbing out of Platinum? Well, you guessed it, it's Reinhardt. You can climb with Reinhardt, but it might take a little bit longer since you rely more on your team than Hammond does. Diamond is usually the rank where people realize that they're decent at the game and they try to take it to the next level. Often they have decent mechanics but lack a lot when it comes to game sense and positioning. Hammond's also the best tank to climb with in Diamond because of his versatility and playmaking potential. You can punish out of position enemies by booping them into your team, or if they're isolated, you can slam and solo kill them. In Platinum and Diamond, you have to take matters into your own hands, and Hammond is the best all-around tank for doing this. Another cool thing about Wrecking Ball is that he can be played as both a main tank and an off tank. You can pair him with a Winston and go for dives, but you can also pair him with an Orisa and just focus on being a nuisance to the enemy team. Learning Hammond may be difficult, but it's well worth it because he can slot into many different team compositions and be extremely effective. And again, don't pick Ryan to climb. Hey, congratulations on reaching Masters. Only 500 more SR to reach GM. Players at this rank are actually fairly good and can play at a GM level on a good day. You can keep one-tricking Hammond if you like, but I have a hot take. The best tank for climbing out of Masters is Sigma. I know, he's not even on the live patch at the time of making this video, but I have over 50 hours played on him at the top of the P tier ladder with some insane stats. All I'm going to tell you is that he has some crazy potential if you put the time and effort into learning him. Sigma has a ton of carry potential because of his high burst damage and instant shield. With Sigma, you want to set up off angles as much as you can, so that you can have a sightline onto the enemy's backline. With Sigma, the last thing that you want to be doing is shooting shields. If you manage to get a clear angle onto a squishy target, then you can one-shot them with the accretion into left foot combo, which deals exactly 200 damage. Sigma is hard to play, but if you can get a good grip on his kit, you can definitely climb out of Masters and even into Grandmaster. Sigma has sort of a kitey playstyle. You almost always want to stay at medium distance from the enemy. Any closer and you're at risk of getting absolutely run over with your measly 400 HP. If they try to force you out of the flank, then you can keep repositioning your shield backwards as you disengage. Again, Reinhardt is a worse character to climb with because he requires resources from his team, and the meta right now is more centered around Orisa Hog and dive comps, and they don't really give Ryan a chance to shine. At the very top of the ladder, we have Grandmaster. Most GM players will have good mechanics and decent game sense. At this rank, the meta and team compositions actually matter quite a lot. At this point, you're best off mastering whatever the meta tanks are. Based off of the 222 Rollock and the patch notes, these will mainly be Orisa and Roadhog, and maybe the occasional dive tanks. Orisa is the safest and most consistent tank, and we've seen her played almost constantly in Stage 4 of the Overwatch League. In GM, you shouldn't always try to solo carry. You're going to have to start trusting your teammates a little bit, at least more than before. Lock the battle cattle, and work with your team to set up combos with your halt ability. It's one of the best abilities in the game because it can create so many opportunities that you otherwise would not have had. Orisa is a character that seems very easy to play on the surface, but at the top of the rank ladder, there is a huge difference between average Orisa players and great Orisa players. Focus on getting value from your halts, managing shield, and then communicating with your team. After you master those, you'll notice yourself gaining more and more SR in Grandmaster. Unsurprisingly, the worst main tank in GM is Reinhardt, because he just doesn't fit into the meta at the time of making this video. He requires a lot of help from his team, and there's little reason to pick him over Orisa or Winston. Hopefully this video gives you a better idea of which tank to pick in each rank to climb. Even though some heroes carry harder than others, you can get top 500 with literally any tank in the game, So don't let this video stop you from playing what you want to play. Make sure to give the video a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.
GameLeap is the proven way to help you reach your desired rank fast. Our website, GameLeap.com, is the most comprehensive library of pro player guides available. You'll find dozens of in-depth courses that are carefully crafted by players in the top 500 bracket, so you can start winning a lot more of your games. Get your membership today at 25% off. It costs about the same as a Twitch sub, so you can get much more value in return. We're so confident in our product that if you don't like it, we're happy to issue a full refund. So get your membership today by clicking right here. See you on the inside.